Hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Geekdom 101, and today we are checking out the biggest Zenkai boosts in Dragon Ball. And now, in my personal opinion, I feel like the biggest Zenkai boosts that Vegeta and Goku both got would be during the Frieza saga. Like, my god, did they jump. Like, Vegeta all of a sudden was like fighting Frieza in like his first form. Goku was up against Frieza in his last form. And then obviously the Super Saiyan thing happened, but yeah man, like there was some big Zenkai boost in there, but let's see what Geekdom has to say, shall we?
So even though the word Zenkai boost is a fan-made term,
what
it represents is the unbelievable power-up that Saiyans get after either coming back from the dead or
being close to
dying,
yep.
or just going through some very intense training and having very intense
battles.
The stronger their opponents are, the stronger they become, and that's why they're called the Saiyan warrior race. And Toriyama would use this as a writing crutch to explain why Goku and other characters were able to get so strong so fast to make the fights more interesting.
But why do they keep getting stronger?
In this video, we are going to discuss what are the biggest Zenkai boosts in all of Dragon Ball. Let's get to it next.
Alright.
Mr. Satan wants you to subscribe to Geekdom 101 on all these social media platforms. You jump? Oh yeah!
That's brilliant.
So, a quick history lesson here. Even though the term Zenkai boost is fan-made and was never used in the anime or the manga, we're going to refer to it as that in this video just to make it a lot easier to understand. The first time that we heard about the Zenkai was in the early Namek saga when Vegeta explains how he's been fighting real battles on Earth and getting more powerful to Kui before he kills him. And then later on during the fight with Zarbon, he explains that Saiyans get stronger when they die or when they come close to dying or after intense training. And Krillin talks about how he always saw Goku come back and get stronger after every fight.
Makes it make sense, doesn't it?
Frieza obviously knew about the Zenkai because that was part of the reason as to why he feared that race. So we're going to talk about the biggest Zenkai boosts in Dragon Ball, and really they do kind of get a little crazy.
I mean, Vegeta gets Krillin to blast stomach, doesn't he? He's like, oh.
There, joining me to discuss Zenkai, please welcome Mike from
Laughing Stock Media. Cool.
How's it going?
Hey guys, it's Mike here from Laughing Stock Media, and I'm happy to be on this video talking about the biggest Zenkai boost in all Dragon Ball.
I like how Geekdom gets other people on.
So we're actually going to begin with the Namek arc. Now, obviously, there are other times prior to the Namek arc when there may have been Zenkai. The most notable is in Dragon Ball, when Goku fights Tao Pai Pai and then fights him in the rematch and beats the crap out of him. We find out that he thought he was drinking some super divine water from Karin. Turned out that it wasn't the case at all. And that
was just got stronger.
First hint of what a Zenkai was, and there's other times
so it's consistent. That's cool. Not really well versed on Dragon Ball.
And to be honest, kind of
Z and
crazy
Super
in the Namek saga.
Yeah, here we are.
Case in point, when you look at the power levels during the battle with Vegeta and Nappa, Goku at his max power with Kaioken ×4 was over 32,000.
Right.
That's against Vegeta and Nappa. In the Namek arc, against Captain Ginyu, after training for what, 6 days, I think it was?
Yeah.
Kaioken, 180,000. And by the end of the arc against Frieza as a Super Saiyan, he is at 150 million.
Damn,
and that's
one huge
Daisenshu
boost.
7, page 83. So, the exploitation of the Zenkai in the Namek saga is absolutely nutty.
Like I was saying, like Namek Saga is just all
it really
boom.
goes crazy there, especially with what you said, Goku on his way to Namek, training in the gravity, and as the narrator said, Goku wasn't even really aware of this ability or this Zenkai that he was exploiting there, but constantly he was pushing himself to the brink so that when he showed up on Namek, he started cauterizing people that were making Vegeta look weak, so it's pretty crazy.
And speaking of Vegeta, I want to start with him. So, I mean, he had nearly died.
Yeah, Krillin nearly got him, man.
Gohan and Krillin, and
he's
then
like, what?
beat the crap out of him. Same thing with Goku. Gets to Namek and, like you said, fodderizes Dodoria and Kui, and then loses to Zarbon, but after he heals up, beats Zarbon in the rematch. And then against the Ginyu Force, you know, obviously Mr. Guldo was nothing to him, but Recoome is stronger. But later on, Vegeta murders freaking Jace, who is, you know, the second strongest.
Such a cool scene, man. I loved him chasing down Jace.
That Vegeta experienced were crazy, And in fact, as the series progressed, he fought Frieza in his first form and seemed to be stronger than him.
It's
and
like,
was
whoa.
actually thinking in his own head he was going to go Super Saiyan against Frieza in his last form, but that didn't
I am the legendary Super Saiyan.
No, and really when we see, you know, he says that he, Gohan, and Krillin could have defeated Frieza in their first form, but of course it's Vegeta, so he had to...
He's like, go on, show me what you got.
Well, he won't change much, and then he destroys him, so... You know, but it's at that point that we see that Vegeta, when he's overpowered by this form of Frieza, and then he sees how powerful the third form is, even Piccolo,
Alien
would
Frieza.
also surpass Vegeta at that point, was overpowered. You know, Vegeta looks to Krillin, he says,
like, just
there's
nearly kill
only
me.
one way we can beat this guy, and that is if you give me a fatal mortal blow, and you blast me so that I can be healed.
Dende
and
kills
as
him.
we saw at first, Dende, at first we saw that Dende didn't want to do that, but after he did, Vegeta powered up in just like a crazy fashion to where not even Piccolo or Gohan or anyone could see Frieza's blast moving. But not only could Vegeta, but he could dodge it, he could knock Gohan out of the way. It was a huge boost. And I love when the anime did his power up at that point, when they showed the grid and everything. It looks like almost like something out of the Matrix.
It was very different and not something they did very often. Let's look at the numbers real quick. So during the Vegeta saga, in the fight with Goku, Vegeta was at 18,000 in his regular form. This is not including Uzaru, Grade 8, but that's from Daizenshu 7 or Dragon Ball Chapter 249. In the Namek saga, Vegeta gets there at 24,000, then during the fight to Rakumi he's at 30,000, and then against, after the fight with Rakumi he's at 250,000.
Right.
And then that's the highest he is at according to V-Jump, is 250,000. The beautiful thing about talking about the Namek saga is that we actually have the power levels because Daizenshu 7 published them, plus V-Jump and other magazines, so we can actually look at these numbers and analyze them, versus later on just guessing, because it's just a guess from there on.
Yeah, the numbers
Toriyama
are just
was
too
really using this
high.
As a writing crutch. It's almost like he realized, okay,
I can't just keep doing the numbers,
up and up and up and up and up, and the only way to do it is to have the characters get beat up. But I also feel like he lost his way. I feel like he...
Must have been impossible to keep up with. Like,
because Goku goes from being able to, you know, being at a power level of 180,000, right? And then he gets turned into... He switches bodies with Captain Ginyu, and then that whole thing happens. He heals up.
Yeah.
Then when he fights Frieza, he's at 3 million.
Jesus.
Just at the beginning of that fight. So he goes from 180,000 with Kaioken to 3 million.
Oh, yeah.
That's a ridiculous boost.
How the heck did Goku go to 3 million?
I think that's one of the biggest there, yeah.
Healing tank. That's insane. Didn't even happen to Vegeta. And Vegeta was probably in there longer.
Now, for my headcanon, the reason why I think that Goku powered up to this, and I plan to do a video going further in depth about this in the future, but I think the reason why is because of how the Zenkai works. And basically the reason why we see some of these characters on Namek powering up to such a degree, even way beyond the opponent that just beat them, is because of something I like to call
an active threat. Oh, right, so like, it's needed.
So basically, Frieza at the time, when Goku was in the chamber, was fighting Vegeta, Gohan,
and he could
Piccolo,
sense
and everyone,
all the...
and he was continually powering up and powering up. And during this time, Goku was sensing all of it.
Yeah, right, okay, so that's going to add to it. Right, okay, I like this.
Subconsciously, his body allowed him to rise to a ridiculous level, even though he was
to be able to overcome it
before, because it was giving him the ability to fight the active threat.
Right,
Frieza.
I like that.
And I think that could work, but again, it is headcanon. It is something that's more of my own theory as opposed to what they specifically say.
Yeah, I mean, and also there is a contradiction, which we're going to get to here in a minute, about Vegeta telling Krillin to shoot him. We're going to talk about that here in a moment, but moving past the Namek arc, I mean, we see those crazy Zenkais. There are other times in the Cell Saga there are implied Zenkais. Obviously, when Trunks and Vegeta are in the Room of Spirit and Time, they train their bodies hard, and they came out stronger. Obviously, when Goku wakes up from the heart virus coma, he seems to be stronger and more focused, but those aren't really stated. The next big Zenkai is probably the biggest Zenkai we're going to see in the series, maybe ever, and that is Super Perfect Cell. Cell goes from puking up 18 and dying with his second form, supposedly dying, blowing himself up,
then coming back,
his body regenerates
not
him into
needing
being super perfect Cell now, and because of the Saiyan DNA inside of his body, the biology inside of his body came back and was stronger than he was when he was just perfect Cell. In fact, he's matching up more evenly with Gohan, who was at Super Saiyan 2. Now, obviously, Gohan was not using his max power until the very end of the fight, but still, he matched up with him much more, and he had sparks and things like that, and he was able to
suppose that is a huge boost, isn't it?
One-shot Vegeta with a pimp smack. I mean, he is so...
Out of the way.
And he doesn't even have 18 inside of his body. He doesn't even have 18. To me, this is the biggest Zenkai in the original Dragon Ball manga. There's never been a bigger Zenkai than this one, and it's a contradiction because Vegeta told Krillin, I can't hurt myself. You have to hurt me, but when you self-destruct, you're hurting yourself, so that's a contradiction.
I mean, I think that was probably Toriyama just trying to give Krillin something to do with that. That would be useful.
He's there.
It's like, oh, you have to do it. I can't self-inflict. But as we saw when Goku was on his way to Namek, he was self-inflicting basically with his training. So it doesn't really make much sense there. But
Inconsistencies.
Again, this is the same fight with Cell, where Goku blasted his head off, and then like a few chapters later, he's like, oh, if my head is destroyed, I die because I have a special core in it. It's like,
wait a minute. What?
I will say that one of the more popular theories that I do like, it is headcanon, but it makes sense, is that when it comes to Cell, the reason why his Zenkai was so strong is because he had both Saiyan and Namekian biology, and thus his regeneration mixed in with the Zenkai Saiyan blood made it even more of a powerful, I don't know if you call it reincarnation.
Makes it quicker.
And I think that's a very good theory.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but in terms of like overall volume, in terms of like how big, in terms of like power levels, that would probably be the biggest Zenkai in the manga, and that's the last Zenkai I can even think of that was specifically mentioned. But in terms of like a gross multiplier, I kind of feel like Goku's was bigger just because he went from being 90,000 in his base without Kaioken to 3 million, whereas Cell got like 3 or 4 times stronger, maybe even twice as strong.
Yeah, no, that is a ridiculous one. Now, the other one I want to talk about briefly here is Broly in the movies.
Okay.
He's the only other, like, Saiyan...
We're doing movies now as well, okay.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about Super a little bit. Broly from movie 8 to 10. In movie 8, Goku punches him in the stomach or in the chest or whatever and kills him. He comes back in movie 10. Now, obviously, the movies don't go with the original manga, but nobody in the movie was Super Saiyan 2. And yet, in movie 10, and this has been debated, but it's pretty easy to tell, that Broly is fighting Gohan in Super Saiyan 2. Now, obviously, Gohan, during that film, this was before the tournament arc had really kicked off, and we knew that Gohan as an adult was not as strong as he was when he was a kid, or at least he didn't improve in the same rate.
Yeah, he didn't carry on training properly, did he?
But Broly, coming near death and then coming back to life, not back to life, but, you know, back to fight is what I mean to say, also had a tremendous increase to where it took the combined efforts of Goku as a spirit or whatever, Gohan, and Goten to kill him.
I mean, even a little bit of Trunks helping out. But, you know, the thing for me is that because it takes place around the time of the Buu saga, I know that, like, obviously the people making the movies didn't have, like, all the same evidence or the same information that Toriyama did about how strong Gohan would be. But I guess I always kind of rationalized that Gohan was stronger than when he fought Broly, but might have been weaker because of just not training, like, weaker than he was when he fought Cell. But either way, you know, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which people love to debate like they do with Deborah, Super Saiyan Goku and Goten all firing a blast, and they even need the help of Trunks, while Broly is just like one-handed doing this whole thing, keeping them all down while laughing maniacally about it. So yeah, he got a giant boost. It doesn't make much sense how he survived within the course of the first movie, but that's an entirely different subject.
So the last thing I want to talk about is Dragon Ball Super, and I want to discuss Goku Black, which is the most recent
Yeah, he does get some boosts.
Zenkai.
He does.
So Trunks talks about how, in the manga, that Saiyans can only Zenkai up to a certain point. And I guess that sort of makes sense in a way, but we have Goku Black, and the main theory behind this is that because Goku Black is possessed, essentially, by a god, by a Shinjin, which is Zamasu, that he's able to exploit Zenkais better. But no matter whether you're watching the anime version or the manga, clearly Goku Black is getting stronger and stronger
every time he fights,
even before Rosé.
Yeah, there's a big boost in the anime, especially, where we see that Goku Black is, you know, on par with Goku Super Saiyan 2, maybe Super Saiyan 3 level, according to what Trunks was saying. But then when Vegeta and Goku go to the future after that initial fight,
he's like, come on, man.
Black, we see that base Goku Black is, like, catching Vegeta as a Super Saiyan Blue off guard. He's able to, like, show up and, like, put his fingers under his chin, and he's like, oh, well, you're certainly impressive for a mortal, you know, he's like talking crap to him. So he got like a big boost. And then of course we do see Rose.
Oh my god, yeah.
And it seems like the Zenkais for him not only are making him stronger, but they're also making Goku's biology and body even more his own. Like he says in the manga, you know, these cells are becoming more his own as they regenerate. So
that's cool.
You know, it's a combination of not only getting incredibly more powerful, but also making all that was Goku's body and his power his own. It's kind of like, I guess you could say, Captain Ginyu, because Captain Ginyu at first could only get like 20,000 power level from Goku's body.
It's learning how to use it and how to use the power-ups from the body, yeah, because it's not your own. Yeah.
So maybe it's something along
interesting.
Those lines.
But he still never figured out how to really use that body.
No.
You know? Whereas in the Dragon Ball Super version of the events, it's totally different because he takes over Tagoma and is somehow, you know,
that was so random.
Boo level freaking characters,
yeah,
which never made any sense to me. But that's a different video. So that's pretty much it. Those are the biggest Zenkai in Dragon Ball. There's a few other ones too, like, you know, future Gohan's implied to get a couple of them. Bardock may have gotten one in the Bardock special. Goku in the Cooler movie definitely got one. He got knocked out for most of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, they're there, but these are, I think, the biggest ones. And what do you think is the biggest one? Do you think it's Goku Black? Do you think it's Goku on Namek? Or do you think it's...
I think the Goku on Namek one's ginormous.
Let us know in the comments of what you think are the biggest Zenkai boosts in Dragon Ball. And, of course, we're not including, like... Heroes. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, a totally different can of worms.
Yeah, screw that. And remember to check out Laughing Stock Media.
That was a cool video. Like I said, the Namek saga had some huge Zenkai boosts, like some massive ones. And the Goku Black one, yeah, like it was interesting. He's learning to use the body, and then he's like, do you know what? I do this all day. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys. Next time.